I mean, it's quite intimate, so maybe I can start with something, and then it was more to hear from people. Yeah. There were some. There is a whole kinship scenario, and the backstories that you told before. And I wonder if, because we know a bit about Pierre, in a holiday in a hut at your father's place, and Schnucko. And then there is a bit of mystery around Archi, and the closet, and also the Käfer and your uncle. So they're like humans, and then there is this other family coming in, then there is your friendship, so suddenly there is like a whole. So I don't know if you want to tell a story about Archie or about your uncle. And
yes, I can tell the story of Archie. So our first animal that we played a concert for was Pierre. Is English fine for everyone? And so Pierre we found by accident, and then after that we decided, oh, let's do more concerts for dead animals. And so I was asking around who has a connection to a dead animal maybe. And then my friend Wiebke said that she knows an animal that would be very happy about the concert, and she asked me to come to a flat, and there was Archie, and I directly fell in love with him. And then she told me that actually Archie lived in the 90s and he died in the 90s, and then it was the dog of the couple, and the man was very in love with Archie, and he couldn't deal with his death, and so he decided to have him as a stuffed dog at home. And then these two became very old, and they were dying, and so Archie was given to the daughter of this couple, and the daughter was a bit afraid of Archie actually, and she decided to not throw Archie away but to have him in her closet where she would keep all her cleaning stuff, which is of course very sad. And so Wiebke my friend Wiebke opened this door to this closet, and there I saw Archie, and I just took him into my arms and brought him home. And since then we are living together in my apartment.
And Archie is performing in almost all the concerts of the composer Neo Hülcker, and sends me postcards, and I have also Archie socks.
That's true.
And he, like Archie, yes, is like very present in your life.
Yeah.
Since
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's.
And if you have a Zoom meeting with Neo, there's Archie is there.
Of course, he's my dog, so I think it's very normal.
And when I go on holidays with Neo, he always starts missing Archie.
Yeah. True.
And when I was seeing this, it was really interesting, because it was the first encounter.
Yeah,
and exactly. At that point we didn't know yet that it would become your dog.
Exactly,
that you would have this very, very intense relationship with Archie.
Yeah, it's true. It was a dog we didn't know that much
yet. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Do you like to tell the story of?
So Ambrosia, the beetle, we found also this. I think that's what I remember. We found also in Masdereau, in the south of France, where I grew up, in the same house where we found Pierre the owl. And then I took her home to Berlin, and then I started a conversation over email with my uncle, Dr. Martin Beer, who is a specialist, or used to be a specialist of the Beatles. He wrote a little book, so ein kleiner Kosmosführer. Welcher Käfer ist das? And yes, and so he was very interested in having this conversation with me. And we asked him how do they hear the Beatles, and so we started to explain, and so we asked like, would be like Berghain music, and so he said yes, it's probably more like Berghain music than Bach, but he cannot sign it, and also like to determine what Beatle it is quite difficult. And then he was also very ill, and then he passed away, and then at the funeral I played this film, and it was really very great cathartic moment for the family, because also they inherited all these Beatles. I mean, it's amazing, like this.
Oh, the family.
Yeah. So a lot about it, like what to do with all these Beatles.
He had a collection of dead Beatles.
Yeah. But the München Museum took them.
Okay.
And also like extinct Beatles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme, what to do with the dead animals.
Yeah.
For preserving Beatles, do you have to somehow prepare them also? I mean,
Der informell de Dingsbums Hüt.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them I think. But yes, my cousins can tell you. You tell them this question, they start like. But I remember going with him like in Les Gorges, like it's like very fast waters when I was a child, and we were always behind because we was like always collecting all the Beatles. It's quite fascinating.
Should I ask another question?
Are there, or it's maybe stupid, but like when you address the dead animals, yeah, I was just wondering with this expectation that somehow Archie would maybe do, or like I don't know, something, or I don't know, or like in what way, like a different animals make a different address, or how do they make maybe a different way of talking to them, or yeah, maybe I don't know if it's a good, if it's a question, but maybe the curious thing would be maybe how do you interact, or how do you spend time, or what happens before the concert actually, maybe. Is there a treatment or some way to find a good place, or to, yeah?
Yeah, I think we are working also with the energy of the animal and the energy between us and the atmosphere in the room. I think that happens a lot. And we are also doing some research about how the animal was hearing actually, like what kind of sounds did the animal have in their life. Yeah. Do you like to add something?
Yeah, for example, that the owl has can echolocate, so can locate the mouse, because one ear is here and one ear is here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we also put the microphones there, like it's like OKMs. So one mic, like the left and the right. It's a little, and with Archie there in Archie's ears. So we research. And then sometimes, I agree that it has to do with the special energy of the animal. Because like Freya, for example, the fox, was lying exactly at this place on that beach for days. And we came to her. And like and Pierre, for example, the owl, was like we opened a cupboard. And there she was, mummified like this, and I'm like, oh my god, like, yeah, she gave the start. But then Like I spent hours building this moss bed. That's actually.
We have all this camera footage of us preparing the scene, and it's so funny because we are like talking in a very funny way to each other, and we are so exhausted and yeah.
How do you call the DVDs where you have the extras?
Yeah.
Bonusmaterial.
Total tolles Bonusmaterial.
But was the owl stuffed as well? No.
No, mummified. By naturally
And it
mummified.
died in a cupboard.
Nee, I think my father found it in the attic, also in the house. Die ist einfach so vertrocknet. And I think that, it was already 1 year.
Wow.
So he put it her in the naja, so eine Art, so ein Kabuff, draußen Kabuff, da wo die Betonmaschine ist und so.
Weißt schon.
How did you find the box? Were you just going for a walk and then you were like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in Fanø, an island in the North Sea in Denmark, and then we were walking on the beach, and then Freya was there.
Is there an aspect of mourning also?
Interesting question. I think it's something in between, like it's celebrating the animal's former life, and maybe it's a kind of mourning as well. I think it's also celebrating existence in general. Yeah, but I think one could say that it's a kind of. It's not a funeral. It's something else. But it's this special moment to honor the animal and their life and their death.
But I'm sorry.
Please go ahead.
There was, for me also in the Archie scene, it felt like the experiment whether it would be possible to get something out of it.
Yeah.
Because you were really playing all the strings. Right? I mean, you mentioned that also. It was like, hey,
there was this expectation maybe in the end.
You really felt a strong.
But actually sometimes moves a little bit. You really have to get very close, but then you can feel and see something.
Was there for you a difference between a wild animal and a domestic animal? For me, it was really uncomfortable to see this Archie, a dog who was like beautifully preserved, and I had no trouble seeing this owl or this decomposed fox. Probably because I had a dog as a kid, but it was really difficult.
Yeah.
Was there for you a difference between the type of?
For me, they're all different. So we were and then we wrote a score for other people to do that can do concerts for dead animals, and so we defined the rules and where the border would be, and then so you cannot do it for animals who direct human violence is the.
Yeah, like for example roadkill.
Yeah.
Or a deer shot in the forest.
Yeah. But then it's true. It's a wide range, and it is different. But people react emotionally very differently too.
Yeah, that's true.
To Archie also in general, actually.
Yeah.
And dogs also, other dogs.
Yeah, I think it's especially also a dog thing, because lots of people have their own dogs and maybe feel reminded on the death of their own dog.
I would love to know more about the turkeys. I have this image of you like just walking down a road and there's some turkeys there. Like, what was the situation where you encountered these turkeys?
Well, I have a thing with them because when I was 5 years old, they like chased me, and my mother really was afraid that they would eat me, like in the south of France. I mean, they're, you know, like they get together and they're like, and they get out, and then they go like, and like a little human like this. So, and then I don't know. Then you saw this thing.
No, actually, I think it was, we were in La Palma, and like close to us there was a little valley kind of thing, and on the other side of the valley there were the turkeys, but we could only hear the and then we were wondering where it's coming from, and then we asked our host like if she knows where we have to go to get close to the turkeys, and then we actually had to do a little hiking tour, and then we finally found the turkeys, and then we had this conversation.
And you discovered this special talent of mine.
Exactly, I was very impressed.
And that's why you wrote that score.
Yes. Yeah, I think we always heard the turkeys, and then you started to imitate them.
And then we went to visit them.
Yes. Yeah. And then I brought my recording device and recorded you.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
I was interested in like the music that you wrote, because it's really beautiful. This like the way you write the music looks like an image that I could stare at for ages. And is it written? It's written as music, or did you develop your own language to write these scores?
So I wrote it like this because Neo studied composition for many, like it's a very difficult studium. Very few people can do it, and he actually can read sheet music professionally, and that's a very rare thing. And so I don't really know how to do this, but I pretended to.
You were doing such a great job.
Thank you. But I had lots of fun to do it.
Yes. It's also kind of a fetish thing, I think.
Yes, I have a fetish. So I have, like, for example, one part is a cat. That is a YouTube video. It's like called Cat Singing Opera, and I tried to notate it exactly in
it was perfect, like
Western music notation. But the rest is all from an interview with Neo, and Lisa was there.
It was. Yeah.
It was very cold.
It was really cold.
Yeah, and the other, and the one that's really beautiful on the 2 pages, that's Neo.
Yeah.
So on the top is what I do, and on the bottom is the Zuspiel.
Yeah.
The
tape.
The tape.
You call it,
Yeah.
And then you both wrote a piece for the other person
Yes.
to perform.
Yeah.
So you wrote it for the other person to read.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
with,
a present.
Yeah, like a present, and with the knowledge of the knowledge. Like Neo knew that this kind of score would please me.
But did you give more instructions than just the written score? Like, did you work on it together, or you just handed over the music score and then the other person had to work with that?
We had one rehearsal.
We had a rehearsal. Yeah, but basically we handed it over, and then we practiced on our own, and then we were exchanging a little bit from our work. And
Because with the your score, it seemed like you had like 2 ones and you were kind of playing with them, or I know it seemed like there was a different principle. Or
The one that I performed,
yes,
that Neo wrote.
Yes, that Neo wrote.
It's
You had
because
like
it's
2
the-
sheets.
it's just 2 pages big.
Okay, I thought kind of because you looked this side.
No,
and that
the time
side.
is no. It's going. The line is the time,
Ah,
and what is above the line is what I have to do, and what is below the line is what the tape does.
okay.
And then you have time. Yeah, that's why we, Brian and me, we have to start the clock together because, so I know where I am. Yeah.
Do you have any more animals that you plan to?
Yes. So we were already saying to some, we have this butterfly, this Camille butterfly that we found in Canada, that Dana Haraway writes about the
Camille.
yes, but yeah, the species, and but I don't know if it's still okay. I put it in a box because it's like yeah.
Maybe you should have used formaldehyde or something.
That's true.
Formaldehyde.
The top of your
Ah.
cousin.
I put a like.
No, but I don't think they would do that. They would
No,
put
no.
pins. Yeah. Butterflies and pins.
Yeah. Put a
Crucified
Mottenkugel
butterflies.
in it, the box.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's.
But they are eaten by moth.
And then you have the moth, and
Yeah.
I thought maybe the
the moth, dead moth.
So that then we have 2 Schlangen, Bertha and Elsa, that we found in Betonnest. Yes.
So there's also always this movement of giving the animal a name
Yeah.
or an identity
Yes.
somehow. Yeah. Yeah, that was it there from the beginning that you felt like it needs to have like a kind of a character or a kind of I don't know, a name. What it has is like sometimes to take the animal maybe out of the saying like this is a boa constrictor or this is
to put it more in the frame of friendship maybe as well, or of I don't know, of it addressing like
I mean what I often
character.
felt is like this when it's like also in the relationship to pets, like when you say "Ei, mein Guter," like it's like that you kind of to turn the relationship into something very very human.
absolutely.
And then something in the relationship changes also.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely happening in almost all human-animal relationships. This humanization thing of the animal, that you just see it from such a humanoid perspective and not from the animal perspective. And
Yeah. There's that, and then also that it's an individual and not the one representative
Of a whole
its
species
Yes,
that
yeah,
you
yeah. I was just thinking that the neighbors always had names for their cows. But
Who had?
the neighbors,
Yeah.
Desiree and but then the thing is that when you name all your animal, like for example the pig didn't have a name because then it's harder to separate.
Kill.
Yeah.
Oh, even like
kill, yeah.
yeah. it's a good strategy to to give all the animals names to protect them. Like 15,000 chicken.
Yeah. Well, then, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed a lot this the creeping, or this like these two heads creeping up. Super creepy, like it's really creepy, you know, out of the earth something, and this gathering around this miracle. So it was a bit like science, like let's look into this, but then it was not, and. Yeah, there was something about the gathering around this event, and often when it happens to see an animal on the side of the street, dead or so on, it was like a time stretcher, like that made a whole time around, hovering around this thing that cannot speak back, or and so much energy is given to something that there's nothing to do, but they created so much energy. With it, or for each other, and so it's so idiotic because it's useless. I don't know, but then there is this insistence also in the scores that goes so long and all of this, and it starts to open a dimension to me about the things we do to stay in touch with things. I don't know. It was really idiotic, and it's kind of heartbreaking. Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's maybe also a little bit like a ritual.
It made me think also of, like, I don't know, when my mother was in a coma, and you just people come close when people are at a threshold, you know, or people are sick, and then you want to find the things that they love, you know. It's like you activate so much, and there is so much energy. You know.
Yeah.
To show up, you know. And also people who are not responsive, people who are stubborn, people who are, and you keep trying different things, you know.
I loved with the owl video that there was also the sound of the birds in the background. And that sometimes you both turn, and it was kind of like you were like, are you talking? You know, like there was this also kind of like waiting or something, you know, like there was this like tension between the sound of the birds and the owl and the ritual. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, it's also funny, this feeling of, you know, talking to the owl, you know, but then you created all of this noise, maybe music that became a language for someone else. So like the effect of where the communication goes, I don't know, it's just this like missed link that creates other things that maybe doesn't mean anything here, but there, I don't know, it's entering in communication with things that, you know, I'm not full control of, you just have the intention to communicate, but then you don't know where it goes.
It's true.
Are your hands sweating under the...
For now, no.
But I love hearing you say these very inspiring things. With these hands.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we close and so we move the mattresses and transition? Or have another drink or something? Everybody okay? Was there anything else? Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.